There's something incredibly powerful about being missed, about having someone think about you so much that your absence feels louder than your presence ever could. Picture this, the moments where you aren't even around, and yet you're the first thing that crosses their mind. They replay conversations, imagine your reactions, feel your influence even when you're not there. This isn't some mind game or manipulation. This is mastery. Mastery of self, of the way you carry yourself, and of the undeniable value you bring into someone's life. And what if I told you that this kind of presence, this kind of unforgettable impression, is rooted in an ancient philosophy that's been teaching people how to command their own minds for thousands of years? Today we're diving deep into the Stoic principles that can make you a lasting presence in someone's thoughts. We're not talking about tricks or strategies to get attention. This is about becoming someone so impactful, so anchored in calmness, virtue, and strength that your influence naturally lingers. The ancient Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, had it all figured out. They understood that the key to being unforgettable lies not in what you say or how often you're around, but in who you are when you show up, and even more importantly, how you carry yourself when you step away. Today, I'm going to walk you through 10 Stoic skills that, when mastered, will not only transform the way you live, but will ensure that when you're not around, you're the first person they think of. These are principles grounded in wisdom, in control, in living with purpose. By the end of this video, you'll have the tools to become unforgettable, not by chasing attention, but by living in a way that commands respect, curiosity, and admiration. Stick with me, because we're about to unlock the Stoic secrets to becoming the kind of person people just can't get out of their heads, even when you're not in the room. If you appreciate what we're doing here, the simple and free favor I'll ask from you is to hit the subscribe button. Your support means the world to us. And trust me, you won't want to skip any part of this video, because every Stoic skill we cover today is essential to becoming truly unforgettable. Let's get started. Number 1. Self-control, the power of calm. Imagine you're in a heated argument. Emotions are flying left and right, and everyone expects you to explode, to lose your temper, to lash out. But instead, you stay calm, composed, and measured. You take a deep breath, and rather than letting your anger or frustration take over, you respond with clarity and control. That moment, right there, is powerful. It's memorable. People don't expect calm in the middle of chaos, and when you're the one who can bring that stillness into the storm, it sticks in their mind. They start thinking, how did they manage to stay so calm? Seneca put it perfectly. You have power over your anger if you choose to control it. It's not about pretending you're not angry or bottling up your emotions. It's about deciding how you want to react. And here's the thing, when you control your reaction, you control the situation. You shift the dynamic from chaos to calm, and that kind of control isn't just powerful, it's magnetic. People remember the person who stays calm under pressure, the person who doesn't get swept away by emotion. And when they think of you, they think of someone steady, grounded, and in control. Think about how rare that is in today's world. Most people are quick to react, quick to anger, quick to let their emotions dictate their behavior. But when you're the one who keeps your head while everyone else is losing theirs, you set yourself apart. You become the person people admire and respect, not because you dominate the conversation, but because you dominate yourself. And let's be real, we all have those moments where staying calm feels impossible, whether it's a tough day at work, a frustrating situation at home, or just dealing with everyday stress. But that's exactly why self-control is so powerful. It's a muscle, and the more you practice it, the stronger it gets. The next time you feel yourself getting swept away by frustration or anger, stop, take a breath, and remember, you have the choice. You can react or you can respond. And when you respond with calmness, you're not only changing the way you feel, you're changing the way others see you. Think about your daily life, whether you're at work, in a relationship, or even just navigating through traffic. When you maintain self-control, people notice. They admire the calmness in the middle of stress. They think about how you manage to stay composed when others couldn't. You become memorable because you stand out in a world where most people are led by their emotions instead of leading their emotions. And here's the kicker. Self-control isn't just about making you look good in front of others. It's about giving you peace. When you're not a slave to your emotions, you feel more grounded, more secure. You're not tossed around by every little thing that goes wrong in your day. You're centered, and that inner strength radiates outwards. You end up not just feeling better, but also being better in every area of your life. Number 2, rational decision-making, the key to being unforgettable. When we talk about rational decision-making, it's easy to think about spreadsheets, logic, or making choices without emotion. But Stoicism teaches us that it's so much more than that. It's about clarity of thought. It's about making choices with intention, not impulse. And when you're someone who consistently makes thoughtful decisions, you naturally stand out. People remember you for your wisdom, your ability to see the big picture, and your calm, calculated approach in moments of stress or uncertainty. Marcus Aurelius had a saying that's always stuck with me. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Let that sink in for a moment. When you think clearly, you act clearly. When your decisions are based on wisdom rather than impulse or emotion, you become a person people trust, someone they look up to in times of uncertainty. Picture this. You're at work, a big decision needs to be made, and everyone's panicking, trying to rush into a choice just to relieve the pressure. But you, instead of getting caught up in the stress of the moment, take a step back. You assess the situation, weigh the pros and cons, and calmly suggest the best path forward. You don't just make a decision, you make a rational decision, and that's what sets you apart. People will start seeing you as someone they can rely on, someone whose judgment is solid. It's not about being right all the time, it's about making thoughtful, well-considered choices. And that's a quality people can't help but admire. Think about it in your personal life too. How often do we make decisions based on how we feel in the moment? Whether it's reacting to a conflict with a friend, making a big financial decision, or even just choosing how to spend our time. When you start approaching decisions from a rational Stoic perspective, you remove a lot of the unnecessary stress and drama. You're not making decisions based on fear, frustration, or impulse. You're making them from a place of calm understanding. Imagine being the person who, in the middle of a tough situation, doesn't get caught up in the chaos. You stay grounded. You take time to think things through. That's the kind of person others remember when things get tough. People will start asking themselves, what would they do in this situation? And that's powerful. You're not just making decisions for yourself anymore. You're setting an example for others. You're the rock, the one who brings logic and balance into situations where others might crumble or react without thinking. And here's where the Stoics really had it figured out. Rational decision-making doesn't mean ignoring your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It means recognizing them, but not letting them take the wheel. It's about acknowledging how you feel, but still making decisions that serve your long-term well-being, not just your short-term comfort. Epictetus said it best. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Rational decision-making is about owning that reaction. It's about choosing a response that aligns with your values, rather than being swept away by whatever emotions are strongest in the moment. And let's not forget, making rational decisions doesn't just benefit you, it benefits everyone around you. Whether it's in your career, your relationships, or even just your everyday interactions, people start to look to you as someone who can handle pressure, someone who doesn't rush into things or make impulsive choices. That kind of presence is rare, and when people find it, they don't forget it. And this kind of decision-making has a ripple effect. When you consistently make choices that are rational and well-considered, you become a person of influence. Others begin to seek your advice, they trust your judgment, and they look to you in moments of uncertainty. This kind of impact doesn't just make you memorable, it makes you invaluable. People remember the ones who help them see clearly, who help them make better decisions themselves. Number 3. Resilience in adversity, strength that leaves a lasting impression. This is one of those skills that's not just about surviving tough times, it's about thriving through them. Resilience is the ability to bounce back, to get up after life knocks you down. And in Stoicism, resilience is more than just a trait, it's a philosophy. It's about facing hardship head-on, not with bitterness, but with strength and grace. And here's the truth, people remember how you handle adversity. They remember the person who didn't give up when things got tough, the person who kept going no matter how hard the road was. That's unforgettable. Now, adversity comes in all shapes and sizes, right? Maybe it's a job loss, a failed relationship, or a personal setback that really shook you. Most people, when faced with these challenges, get stuck. They dwell on what went wrong, they let the situation define them, and they struggle to move forward. But Stoicism teaches us something different. It teaches us that adversity is not the end, it's an opportunity. As Seneca said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." In other words, hardship is what shapes you. It's what builds your character and makes you stronger. Imagine this. You're going through a really tough time. Maybe you've been hit with bad news, or a project you've been working on completely falls apart. Most people would let the weight of that drag them down, maybe even give up. But instead, you decide to approach the situation with resilience. You take a deep breath, remind yourself that this is just another challenge, and you keep pushing forward. You don't let the adversity define you. Instead, you use it to grow. And when people see that, it leaves a mark. They think, how did they stay so strong in the face of all that? Resilience isn't about pretending everything's fine when it's not. It's about acknowledging the struggle and choosing to move forward anyway. And here's the thing. People are watching. They notice how you react when things don't go your way. Do you crumble under the pressure? Or do you rise, even if it's just one step at a time? The way you handle adversity becomes part of your story, and people remember the person who didn't back down. That's the kind of strength that lingers in their minds. Think about some of the most inspiring people you know. Chances are they didn't have it easy. They've faced struggles, failures, and setbacks. But what sets them apart is how they responded to those challenges. They didn't let adversity stop them. They used it to fuel their growth. And that's what Stoic resilience is all about. It's not just about surviving. It's about using every challenge as a stepping stone toward becoming a better, stronger version of yourself. There's a quote from Marcus Aurelius that captures this perfectly. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In Stoicism, obstacles aren't just roadblocks. They're the path forward. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to grow, to learn, to become more resilient. And when you embrace that mindset, you're not just weathering the storm, you're becoming stronger because of it. People notice that kind of mindset, and it sticks with them. They start to see you as someone who doesn't just go through life, but grows through life. Resilience also builds respect. When people see that you can handle adversity with grace, they start to trust you more. They know that you're not going to fall apart at the first sign of trouble. You become a leader, not because you're the loudest or the most dominant, but because you've shown you can handle whatever life throws your way. That kind of quiet strength is rare, and it's something people never forget. And the beauty of resilience is that it's a skill you can build. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Every time you face a challenge, you have a choice. You can either let it defeat you, or you can use it to grow. And when you choose growth, you're not only improving yourself, you're also shaping how others see you. They'll remember how you faced adversity, and they'll think of you as someone who doesn't quit, someone who rises no matter how hard the fall. Number 4. Mindful presence, the power of being fully there. In a time where we're constantly distracted by notifications, endless to-do lists, and the hustle of everyday life, the ability to be truly present with someone is a rare and powerful thing. When you're fully there, mentally, emotionally, and physically, you're giving a gift that's becoming increasingly scarce, your undivided attention. And let me tell you, people feel it when you're really present with them, and they remember it. Think about the last time you had a conversation with someone, but they were clearly half listening, maybe glancing at their phone or looking past you. How did that make you feel? Probably like you weren't being heard, like your words didn't really matter. Now imagine the opposite, when someone is fully engaged with you, looking you in the eye, listening to every word, and responding with real thought and care. It feels incredible, doesn't it? That's the power of mindful presence. It makes the other person feel valued, seen, and important. And that feeling sticks with them long after the conversation is over. Marcus Aurelius said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." That quote embodies mindful presence. It's about recognizing the value of each moment and giving it your full attention. When you're truly present with someone, you're not just hearing their words, you're experiencing the moment with them. And in today's fast-paced world, where everyone's rushing from one thing to the next, that kind of presence is rare. People notice it because it's so different from the norm, and they'll remember how you made them feel fully understood and appreciated. Here's where mindful presence becomes a superpower. It builds deep, meaningful connections. People are drawn to those who make them feel heard and valued. It's not about dominating the conversation or trying to impress them. It's about being there with them fully in the moment. Whether it's a friend, a colleague, or even a stranger, when you're fully present, you create a space where genuine connection can happen, and those connections are what make you unforgettable. And here's the best part. Being present doesn't just benefit the other person, it benefits you too. When you're fully engaged in the moment, you're more connected to life. You're not distracted by the noise in your head or the endless list of things you need to do. You're here, now, and that brings a sense of peace and fulfillment. You start to notice things you would have missed if you were distracted. The tone in someone's voice, the way their eyes light up when they talk about something they love, or the subtle shifts in their mood. Being present helps you understand people better, and that deepens your relationships. There's a reason why the Stoics valued mindful presence so much. Epictetus believed that we should keep your attention focused entirely on what is truly your own concern, and be clear that what belongs to others is their business. This is about not letting your mind wander off into worries about the past or future, but staying focused on what's right in front of you. When you're fully present with someone, you're not thinking about what happened yesterday or what you need to do later. You're right there, in that moment, and that's incredibly powerful. Think of it like this. Life is made up of a series of moments, and each moment you're fully present for is a moment lived fully. The more present you are, the more meaningful your interactions become, and when people experience that from you, they'll keep coming back for more. Why? Because we all crave that kind of connection. We all want to feel like the person we're talking to is really there with us, not lost in their own world. When you're the person who can give them that, you become someone they can't help but think about. And the best part? This isn't something you need to wait for the right moment to practice. You can start being more present right now. Whether you're having a conversation, working on a task, or even just spending time with yourself, practice being fully engaged. Put away distractions, take a deep breath, and focus on what's in front of you. Not only will you experience more joy and peace, but you'll also create deeper connections with those around you. Number 5. Emotional regulation, the secret to staying on their mind. This isn't about bottling up your feelings or pretending you're unaffected by what's going on around you. It's about managing your emotions in a way that allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. And when you do this, people notice. They remember the person who stays calm, composed, and in control, no matter what's happening. In a world where so many people let their emotions drive their actions, being the one who can keep it together makes you unforgettable. Now, we all know how easy it is to let emotions get the best of us, right? You're in a tense situation. Maybe someone says something that triggers you, and before you know it, you've snapped or reacted in a way you regret later. It's natural. But Stoicism teaches us that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we react to it. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is the essence of emotional regulation. It's not about denying how you feel, it's about choosing how you express those feelings. Think about a time when someone around you lost control, whether it was an argument, a stressful work situation, or even just a moment of frustration. Their emotional reaction likely escalated the situation, right? Now, imagine the opposite. Being in a difficult conversation or under pressure, and instead of reacting with frustration or anger, you pause. You take a breath, collect your thoughts, and respond with calmness and clarity. That moment stands out. People remember the person who didn't lose their cool, who kept their emotions in check and responded with grace. That's emotional regulation in action, and it's a skill that leaves a lasting impression. This doesn't mean you suppress your emotions or pretend they don't exist. In fact, emotional regulation is about being aware of your emotions, recognizing when they're rising up, and then making a conscious decision about how to handle them. It's like being the captain of a ship in rough seas. The waves of emotion may be crashing all around you, but you're still steering. You're not letting those waves knock you off course. And that's what people notice. They see you as someone who doesn't get swept away by the chaos, but who can navigate through it with poise. This is especially true in relationships, whether personal or professional. We all face situations that test our emotions, arguments with a partner, disagreements with a coworker, or even stressful moments in day-to-day life. But when you're able to regulate your emotions, you become the person others look to for stability. You're not the one escalating the argument or adding fuel to the fire. You're the one defusing it, bringing a sense of calm, and responding in a way that moves things forward rather than getting stuck in the emotion of the moment. That's the kind of emotional intelligence that people can't help but admire. And here's the thing. Emotional regulation isn't about being detached or robotic. It's about being intentional with how you express your emotions. It's knowing when to speak and when to pause. It's about responding thoughtfully, even when you're feeling heated inside. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this. and you will find strength. That's exactly what emotional regulation gives you, the strength to manage your reactions, to decide how you show up in each moment, regardless of how intense the situation is. The more you practice emotional regulation, the more people will notice. They'll start to see you as someone who brings calm into stressful situations, someone who can handle pressure without losing their head. And let's be real, everyone wants to be around someone like that. When people feel like they can count on you to stay calm, it builds trust. They start to associate you with clarity and composure, and that's something they'll remember long after the moment has passed. But here's the best part. Emotional regulation doesn't just make you stand out to others, it also brings you peace. When you're able to manage your emotions, you're not constantly being pulled in different directions by every little thing that goes wrong. You're not reacting to every slight or stressor. Instead, you're centered. You're in control of your own mind, your own actions, and that gives you a sense of calm and confidence that's hard to shake. Number 6. Virtuous living, the foundation of being unforgettable. In reality, virtuous living is at the heart of what it means to live a meaningful, impactful life. It's not just about being good in some abstract sense. It's about living in alignment with your values, making decisions based on integrity, and acting in a way that reflects your highest principles. And here's the truth. When you consistently live with virtue, people notice. It's something that quietly commands respect and admiration, even if they don't always say it out loud. The Stoics, especially Marcus Aurelius, were big on virtue. Marcus said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." And that's the essence of virtuous living. It's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk. It's about living in a way that's honest, fair, and aligned with what you know to be right, even when no one's watching. And that's the key. Living virtuously isn't about doing the right thing for applause or recognition. It's about doing the right thing because it's who you are. And trust me, that kind of integrity doesn't go unnoticed. Over time, people start to see you as someone who stands for something real, someone they can trust, and that makes you unforgettable. Think about it. In today's world, where cutting corners and compromising values can seem like the easier path, living with virtue is rare. So many people are willing to bend their principles for convenience or personal gain, but when you choose not to, you set yourself apart. Imagine being in a situation where you could take a shortcut to get ahead, maybe even cheat the system a little bit. Most people wouldn't think twice about it. They'd take the easy way, but not you. You choose to stick to your values, even if it's harder, even if it means a longer road to success. That choice, that integrity, creates a lasting impression. People might not say it in the moment, but they're thinking, wow, that takes real character. Virtue isn't about being perfect. It's about striving to be the best version of yourself. It's about holding yourself to a standard that reflects the person you want to be, not just when things are easy, but especially when things are tough. Virtuous living means being honest when it's uncomfortable, being kind when it's easier to be indifferent, and doing what's right even when it's the harder choice. And here's the thing. People remember those who live with that kind of integrity. When you're the person who can be trusted to do what's right, consistently and without hesitation, that leaves a mark. It makes you stand out in a world where so many people are just doing what's convenient. And it's not just about big, dramatic moments of virtue. It's the little things too. It's about how you treat the people around you, how you handle your responsibilities, and how you show up in everyday life. Are you someone who keeps your word, even when it's difficult? Are you someone who treats others with respect, even when you don't stand to gain anything from it? These small acts of virtue add up. They create a reputation, and over time, people start to associate you with that integrity. It's the foundation of respect, and respect is one of the most powerful ways to make a lasting impression. There's also something deeply personal about living virtuously. It's not just about how others see you, it's about how you feel about yourself. When you live in alignment with your values, there's a peace that comes with it. You don't have to second-guess your decisions because you know they're grounded in integrity. You don't feel conflicted or torn between what's right and what's easy because you've already made the choice to live virtuously. And that inner peace radiates outward. It makes you more confident, more centered, and ultimately more memorable. People are drawn to those who seem at ease with themselves, who exude a quiet strength that comes from living authentically. Here's another quote from Marcus Aurelius that I love. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When you live virtuously, you're not just making good choices, you're shaping your character. Over time, those virtuous decisions become who you are. They become the essence of your reputation, your legacy, and the way people think of you. Living with virtue isn't just about being respected in the moment. It's about building a foundation that lasts, something that people remember long after the moment has passed. Number 7. Acceptance of what is, embracing reality with grace. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It's not about throwing your hands up and saying, well, I guess I'll just deal with whatever happens. No, acceptance in the Stoic sense is much deeper. It's about recognizing the reality of a situation, no matter how challenging, and then deciding how you're going to respond to it. It's about focusing your energy on what you can control and letting go of the rest. And let me tell you, when you can master this, it not only gives you peace, it makes you unforgettable to others because you become the person who navigates life with calm and clarity, even in the face of hardship. One of my favorite quotes from Marcus Aurelius sums this up perfectly. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. What he's saying is that the obstacles we face aren't just challenges, they're opportunities. They're the path forward. When you learn to accept what you can't change and focus on what you can, you transform obstacles into stepping stones. And here's the truth. People notice when you handle adversity with this kind of grace. When you're the one who can stay calm and composed in the face of difficulties while others are stressing out or complaining, that stands out. It shows strength, resilience, and wisdom. And people remember that. Now, let's be real. Acceptance isn't always easy. It's natural to want to fight against things that don't go our way. We all want life to unfold according to our plans. But Stoicism teaches us that trying to control things outside of our power only leads to frustration and stress. The Stoics believed that we should focus on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, our reactions, and accept the rest. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is the essence of acceptance. It's about understanding that while we can't always control what happens, we can control how we respond. Imagine you're dealing with a tough situation. Maybe something at work isn't going the way you hoped, or a personal plan fell through. Most people would waste energy fighting against what's happening, complaining or getting stuck in frustration. But instead, you choose to accept the situation for what it is. You don't waste time wishing things were different or getting angry about what's beyond your control. You simply ask yourself, what can I do with this? How can I move forward? That mindset shift not only helps you find peace in the moment, but it also makes you more effective at handling challenges. And people will notice. They'll see that, while others get stuck in frustration or denial, you're the one moving forward, adapting, and staying focused on what matters. And here's the thing. Acceptance isn't about giving up. It's about freeing yourself from the mental and emotional energy drain that comes with resisting reality. When you accept what is, you stop wasting time on things you can't change and start putting your energy into things that you can influence. It's about making peace with the present so you can move toward the future with purpose and clarity. That's not passivity, that's power. When you're able to look at a situation, no matter how tough, and calmly say, "Okay, this is what's happening. What's my next step?" You become a person others look to for guidance and strength. Think about how rare that is. Most people, when faced with adversity, get stuck in frustration, anger, or disappointment. They let their emotions cloud their judgment, and they waste valuable time trying to change things that are out of their control. But when you're the person who can accept reality and keep moving forward with grace, that's memorable. People will think about how you handled difficult situations, how you stayed calm when others panicked, and how you always seemed to find a way forward, even when the path wasn't clear. Acceptance also brings a sense of inner peace. When you're not constantly fighting against what you can't control, you free yourself from a lot of unnecessary stress. You become more resilient, more adaptable, and ultimately more at ease with life. And here's the secret, that inner peace radiates outward. It makes you more centered, more grounded, and people are naturally drawn to that. When they're around you, they feel calmer, more secure, because they know you're not the type to get rattled easily. You become a source of stability in a world that's often chaotic. This principle applies to the bigger challenges in life too. Whether it's a personal setback, a failed plan, or something that just didn't turn out the way you wanted, practicing acceptance allows you to handle these moments with grace. And when people see you calmly accepting what is, without losing your cool or spiraling into frustration, it leaves a lasting impression. They start to associate you with that calm, collected energy that they can rely on. You become someone who brings a sense of balance to any situation. Number 8. Purposeful action. Make every move count. This isn't just about staying busy or crossing things off a to-do list. It's about acting with intention, knowing why you're doing what you're doing, and making sure that your actions are aligned with your goals and values. It's about moving through life with direction, rather than just drifting from one thing to the next. And here's the beauty of it. When you act with purpose, people notice. You're not just another face in the crowd, aimlessly going through the motions. You become someone who's focused, intentional, and determined, qualities that make you stand out and leave a lasting impression. One of the great Stoic philosophers, Epictetus, said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." That's a perfect way to think about purposeful action. It starts with knowing what you're striving for, who you want to be, and then making choices that reflect that. Purposeful action means you're not just reacting to life's events, you're shaping your own path. Whether it's in your career, your relationships, or your personal growth, when you make deliberate choices, you create momentum. People around you will see that you're not just floating through life, you're on a mission, and that makes you memorable. Think about how often we get caught up in the busyness of life, doing things out of habit, without really thinking about why we're doing them. It's easy to fall into the trap of just getting through the day, reacting to whatever comes our way. But the Stoics teach us to live with intention. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for?" He reminds us that we're not here just to float along. We're here to take purposeful action, to live meaningfully, and to make each day count. Imagine waking up every morning with a clear sense of purpose. You know what you want to accomplish, and every action you take is aimed at moving you closer to your goals. You're not just busy for the sake of being busy. You're focused on what really matters. That kind of intentional living changes everything. You become more productive, more fulfilled, and more in control of your life. And here's the kicker. Others notice. They see you moving with purpose, and they start to respect your determination and drive. You become someone they look up to, someone they want to follow, because you're showing them what it means to live with intention. Purposeful action is also about making sure that what you do aligns with your values. It's easy to get caught up in the grind, doing things because they're expected of us or because they seem urgent. But if you take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, does this align with my goals? Is this moving me toward the person I want to be? You'll find that a lot of what we do can be streamlined or even eliminated. When you act with purpose, you focus on what really matters, and that gives your life a sense of clarity and direction. And here's the thing, that clarity radiates outward. People start to notice that you're not distracted by the noise. You're focused on what's important, and that makes you someone they remember. The Stoics were all about taking responsibility for your actions and making sure that every move you make is intentional. They understood that time is limited, and wasting it on things that don't matter is one of the greatest mistakes we can make. When you act with purpose, you honor your time and your potential. You stop spending your energy on things that don't serve you, and you start putting it toward what does. This kind of intentionality is rare, and it's what sets you apart. People will see that you're not just going with the flow, you're carving out your own path, and they'll be inspired by your focus. Living with purpose doesn't mean you have to have everything figured out all the time. It just means that you're intentional about the steps you take. You may not know exactly how everything will unfold, but you're moving forward with a clear sense of direction. And when setbacks happen, and they will, you don't lose sight of the bigger picture. You adapt, adjust your course, and keep going. That resilience, combined with purpose, is what makes you truly unforgettable. People will look at you and see someone who's driven, focused, and unshaken by the challenges that come their way. Number 9. Gratitude for the present. The secret to being unforgettable. Gratitude might seem like one of those simple, feel-good concepts we hear about all the time, but don't underestimate its power. Practicing gratitude, especially for the present moment, can completely shift the way you experience life and how others experience you. When you're grateful for what you have, for where you are right now, it shows. You radiate a certain energy that's contagious, and people can't help but notice. It's not just about saying thank you every once in a while. It's about living in a state of appreciation for the little things that make life what it is. And when you do this, people are drawn to you because you're someone who brings positivity and light into every interaction. Here's what the Stoics had to say about gratitude. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." Think about that for a second. Before you even start your day, take a moment to appreciate the simple fact that you are alive, that you have the ability to think and feel. Gratitude doesn't have to be about grand, life-changing events. It can be as simple as being thankful for the fresh air, for the food on your table, or for the people in your life. When you approach life with this kind of gratitude, you see things differently, and you start to appreciate moments that others might overlook. And here's the key, that mindset makes you unforgettable because people notice when someone truly enjoys life. Think about the people you've met who seem genuinely happy, not because they have everything, but because they're grateful for what they have. It's rare, isn't it? Most people get caught up in what they don't have, what they're chasing, or what's not going right. But when you meet someone who's content and grateful, they stand out. You find yourself thinking, how are they always so positive? What's their secret? That secret is gratitude. They've learned to appreciate the present moment for what it is, rather than constantly longing for something more. And that kind of peace and positivity is memorable. It leaves a mark on the people you meet. Gratitude for the present is especially powerful because it anchors you in the here and now. So often we get stuck worrying about the future or regretting the past, but gratitude pulls us back to the present moment. It reminds us to appreciate what's happening right now. When you're grateful for the present, you're not distracted by what's next. You're fully engaged in the moment, and that's something people can feel. Imagine having a conversation with someone who's not just there physically, but is fully present, appreciating the interaction for what it is. That person is engaged, they're listening, and they're valuing the time spent together. It's rare, and it's powerful. And let's be real, gratitude can be hard to practice, especially when things aren't going your way. Maybe you've had a rough day, or life just isn't lining up the way you planned. In those moments, it's tempting to focus on what's missing or what's wrong, but that's exactly when gratitude becomes most important. Even in tough times, there's always something to be thankful for, even if it's small. The Stoics believed that finding gratitude in hardship strengthens us, makes us more resilient, and shifts our perspective. Instead of dwelling on what's lacking, you learn to find the value in every situation. And when you do that, people notice your strength. They see that you can find light even in the darkest times, and that makes you unforgettable. Gratitude also has a way of making you more approachable. When you're grateful, you're less likely to complain or criticize. Instead, you focus on the good, and that draws people in. They feel uplifted by your energy, by your ability to see the silver lining in any situation. You become someone they want to be around because your attitude makes them feel good. And here's the thing, people remember how you make them feel. When you're the person who consistently brings a sense of appreciation and joy to the table, people can't help but think of you fondly. They remember the warmth you bring to conversations, the way you make them feel valued, and the positive energy you exude. There's also a personal benefit to practicing gratitude. It brings you peace. When you're constantly focused on what you lack, life feels like a struggle, a constant chase for something more. But when you practice gratitude, you start to feel more content with where you are. You realize that, even if everything isn't perfect, there's still so much to appreciate. That sense of contentment shows in the way you carry yourself. You're not constantly stressed or anxious about what's next. You're grounded, and that makes you stand out in a world that's always rushing ahead. The Stoics understood that gratitude isn't just a nice to have, it's a necessity for a meaningful life. It helps us focus on what we can control, on the things that bring us joy, and on the relationships that matter most. When you're grateful, you become more present, more thoughtful, and more connected to the people around you. And that's what makes you unforgettable. People don't just remember what you do, they remember the energy you bring. And when you bring gratitude into every moment, you leave a lasting impression of warmth, positivity, and grace. Number 10. Emotional intelligence, the secret sauce to being unforgettable. This is one of the most powerful tools you can have in your life, and it's something that truly sets people apart. Emotional intelligence is about understanding not just your own emotions, but also the emotions of others. It's about being able to navigate the complex world of feelings with grace, empathy, and self-awareness. When you master emotional intelligence, you're not only in control of your own emotions, but you also connect with people on a deeper level. And trust me, when you can do that, people remember you. So what exactly is emotional intelligence? It starts with self-awareness, knowing what you're feeling, why you're feeling it, and how those emotions are affecting your thoughts and behavior. It also involves self-regulation, being able to manage those emotions so you're not just reacting impulsively, but responding thoughtfully. But that's just half of it. The other part of emotional intelligence is empathy, being able to tune into how others are feeling, understanding their emotions, and responding in a way that supports and uplifts them. When you bring all of these elements together, you become someone who's not only emotionally balanced, but also deeply attuned to the people around you. That's a rare skill, and it's one that makes you unforgettable. Think about the people in your life who seem to get you, the ones who listen without judgment, who seem to understand what you're going through, even when you haven't fully expressed it. These are the people who are emotionally intelligent. They don't just hear your words, they pick up on your emotional cues, your tone, your body language. And because of that, they connect with you in a way that feels authentic and meaningful. You remember them, not because of what they said, but because of how they made you feel. That's the power of emotional intelligence. It leaves a lasting emotional imprint. Now, emotional intelligence is closely tied to Stoic principles because it's all about managing how you react to the world around you. The Stoics believed that while we can't control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Emotional intelligence takes this to heart. It's about having the self-awareness to recognize your emotions, and then the control to respond in a way that aligns with your values and the situation at hand. When you're able to regulate your emotions like this, you naturally become someone others look up to and respect. Why? Because emotional stability is rare. When you're the calm in the storm, people can't help but notice. The other side of emotional intelligence, as I mentioned, is empathy, your ability to understand and relate to what others are feeling. This is what takes emotional intelligence from being a personal skill to being a relationship-building superpower. Empathy allows you to connect with people on a deeper level because you're not just focused on what they're saying, but on how they're feeling. It's the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes and to respond in a way that makes them feel seen and understood. And let me tell you, in a world where so many people feel unheard, being someone who listens with empathy makes you unforgettable. Think about how it feels when someone really gets you, when they don't just offer advice or solutions, but when they listen, reflect, and truly understand where you're coming from. That kind of emotional connection creates a bond that's hard to break. It's what deepens friendships, strengthens relationships, and builds trust. When you're the person who can connect with others on this level, you become someone they want to keep in their lives. You become memorable not just because of what you do, but because of how you make people feel. Emotional intelligence also makes you a better communicator. When you're aware of your own emotions and the emotions of others, you're able to navigate conversations with more clarity and effectiveness. You know when to speak, when to listen, and how to tailor your message in a way that resonates. You're not just throwing out words, you're engaging with people in a way that builds connection and trust. And when you're the person who communicates with both heart and mind, people naturally gravitate toward you. They remember the conversations where they felt truly heard and understood, and they associate that feeling with you. But let's be clear, emotional intelligence doesn't mean you have to be perfect or always have the right answer. It's not about suppressing emotions or pretending to be calm when you're not. It's about acknowledging your emotions, understanding them, and choosing how you want to express them. It's about being real, but in a way that's thoughtful and constructive. And here's the best part. Emotional intelligence grows with practice. The more you tune into your emotions and the emotions of others, the more intuitive it becomes. Over time, it becomes second nature. And here's a simple truth. People are emotional beings. No matter how logical or rational we try to be, Emotions play a huge role in how we experience life and connect with others. When you master emotional intelligence, you're tapping into something fundamental about human nature. You're connecting with people on a level that goes beyond words or actions. You're engaging with their emotions, their feelings, and that's what leaves a lasting impression. So, how do you start practicing emotional intelligence? It begins with self-awareness. Start by checking in with yourself throughout the day. How are you feeling? What's driving those feelings? Are your emotions influencing your decisions? Then, focus on self-regulation. When emotions run high, pause before reacting. Give yourself a moment to decide how you want to respond. And when you're interacting with others, practice empathy. Listen not just to their words, but to their emotions. Ask yourself, how can I support this person? How can I understand them better? When you cultivate emotional intelligence, you're not just becoming more emotionally aware. You're becoming someone who connects with people on a deeper level. And in a world where genuine connection can be hard to find, that makes you unforgettable. People won't just remember what you said or did, they'll remember how you made them feel. That's the secret sauce to making a lasting impact, to building relationships that matter, and to becoming someone others will always think about. As we bring this journey to a close, remember this: the way you carry yourself, the way you manage your emotions, and the way you connect with others through these Stoic principles, it's what makes you unforgettable. Every day is an opportunity to live with intention, to act with purpose, and to leave a lasting impact on the world around you. The power to shape how others think of you lies within your hands. Thank you for being a part of Stoic Journal. If you found value in today's discussion, I encourage you to check out one of the suggested videos on the screen to continue your path toward growth and wisdom. Stay strong, stay wise, and keep embracing your inner Stoic. See you next time.